See if we could get this to work. This is one of the 3 that I brought back in a previous video. This is a GE 14T014, 14T14. And this one is kind of in the poorest shape of the 3. It's got some fairly deep scratches here. It's got some dents in it, and it doesn't work. The other 2 do produce one produces a bright raster, the other one a very dim raster, so there's a little bit more hope for easier repair than on this one, probably. So let's baseline it and plug it in and see what happens. Now the end came off of this, so I'm just kind of winging it. I was talking to somebody today and they were telling me how they enjoy my kind of brute force approach to vintage equipment repair, how I just plug it in and turn it on. It sounds very unhappy. Alright, let's have a look at the plate current here. This is, I believe, a 12 DQ6, something like that. Should be, I'd imagine 100 milliamps would be. Oh yeah. That should make the tube nice and red. They don't call out a spec on this one, but I would think around 100 milliamps would be, well, let's see, what is the B+? 130 volts, so maybe a little bit more, but you know, we got an electrolytic here. We got a .0047 here. So I guess probably the first thing to do would be to pull the chassis out. And unfortunately this is going to be an issue for me to service this because I don't have one of those small test CRTs. So I'm going to have to just kind of shotgun it and hope for the best. Okay, I want to make a note where this is. And it says to remove the centering device. I guess that's this Hoyge Beimler right here. Let's get this stuff out of here. Alright, let's have a look here. We obviously have that pot has been replaced. And you can see that one's been changed. And we have a lot of waxy. That waxy there looks like it's leaking. We got some of these El Shitco capacitors. These, wow, they're 1000 volters too. There's 5 of those. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Nice racket you got going on here. Listen, I'm Rick Sanchez from Earth Dimension C-137. Don't mean you any harm. Coming in peace. It's all cool in the good in the neighborhood. Is what I was trying to. Is what I meant.
Two electrolytics.
The old behind every great man Amazon twist.
If he is a rogue male, tell us now, and we will kill him.
He's my slave. He's my slave.
There's a tongue soul. There's a Raytheon. There's a Sylvania. There's another Raytheon. I wonder if this has got the original CRT in it. I don't see any markings on this tube. I have a feeling it's a rebuild. Yeah, so apparently this is a high hour set. I'm trying to actually find the problem with it before I recap it. I checked some of these caps and they don't appear to be leaky. I got a good negative voltage on the horizontal output tube. So the thing sounds like it's running fairly slow to me, like maybe 6 kilohertz or something. So I was looking at it, and here's the horizontal output tube drive, and when I got the plate cap off the horizontal output tube when I connect it, and also I got the horizontal frequency all the way up. This is slowing it down. I don't know if you can hear it here. That's disconnecting the horizontal. That's connecting the horizontal plate cap. You know what? I have a frequency counter. We can see what this thing's running at. Where is my frequency counter? So this is a fairly simple circuit, you know. You can assume that's probably a disc. Pretty much anything back here really doesn't matter that much unless it's way off. I'm looking at this right here, this 0.0047. If that thing is way off, I already checked this one, and this one's not leaky, not real leaky, because I'm getting the negative 26 volts here. I didn't want to hook my frequency counter up to this massive 100 volt pulse. I didn't want it. Is that 100 or 160? Whatever it is, it's a big pulse, and I really don't want to feed that into my frequency counter. I don't want to blow it up for this TV. So, of course, you can't test this because it's got a coil across it. So, yes, change it. This is that capacitor right here, that El Minco. That's the 0.0047 that goes across the coil for the tuning. But before I change that, I figured I'd take a look at this tube, and this is one of these IEC Service Master made in Japan. I think these are really cheap tubes, and it's a 7AU7 dual triode, which is basically a 12, the same thing as a 12AU7. So I might grab this tube out of one of the other sets and stick it in there before I condemn the capacitor. I'm just trying to diagnose it without throwing parts at it. I know they got to be changed, but this is interesting because this actually has some discs in it. I didn't realize I had all these in my stash, and I looked at my my spreadsheets that I made. So we have GE, Westinghouse, Magnavox, RCA, and Sylvania. Let's just try one. And then we have the one that was in there, the IEC. International Electric crap. Same thing. Squealing like a pig. No doubt this capacitor is bad. That's as wide as the eye opens there, but it didn't fix the problem. Look at how this one opens. Finally got the frequency counter hooked up to it. Looks like I can get it up to 10 kilohertz now. Hook the tube up. Drops to 6. I don't know, I'm kind of running out of ideas here. I checked all the resistors. I checked all the voltages, and about the only thing left is this coil. I wonder if this coil's bad. Got some shorted turns or something. I believe I figured it out. It's an open electrolytic. One of these is open. I could show you which one. But I'm going to touch this on here and watch the scope. So, let's try this. I'm going to connect the cap on the horizontal output tube, and you'll see this is the high voltage lead right here. You'll see it's producing high voltage now, which is a good thing, but the oscillator still slows way down when I do this. I'm not quite sure what that's about. So watch what the oscillator does. But at least now I know that the flyback is good and that this is a capacitor issue, and that was the whole point that I wanted to prove before I recapped it. Now the way this is built, well, I guess this board here, this is a separate board. I can see there are two different boards here, but this is really not that serviceable of a unit. I wonder if I could loosen this and the whole thing would kind of hinge open like that. Of course you've got the adjustment that goes through into here, which I don't know if that'll come out or not. I wonder if there are any solder stakes. I don't see any, so maybe I could hinge this open, because this one I just cut the old one off and tacked it on, but maybe I could hinge this open and recap this board without having to kind of rig it. I'd like to actually put them all the way on. And I found another bad capacitor which I just bridged over, which was the boost. And you can hear if I disconnect it. This is the boost filter. And look at the high voltage now. Wicked arc. That right there is a 102 at 15 kilovolt capacitor. So that's a 0.001 at 15 kilovolts. And I'm using that as a filter because it's only half-wave rectification, just to check the high voltage. And the high voltage, Sam's calls out 8.2, it's about 7. So that's with my two capacitors tacked in. Boy, that thing could hurt you, man. I don't even know if I want to get close to that. I hope that doesn't hold a charge. See, what's the other one right there? The other one is a 681, so 680 picofarads. So I'm using that as my kind of doorknob capacitor. This is like a lighting unit. I just bought it for the capacitors. So we're a little low on the high voltage, but it could be the selenium rectifiers. Oh, and I'm running it on reduced line voltage too, because I got the CRT filament bypassed. So I could check the B plus and see what that is. I should have done this yesterday, gone through and tested the capacitors with audio, but we could do it right now. The main one I'm interested in checking is this 5 microfarad right here. This is the ratio detector balancing stabilization capacitor. I mean, we know these are going to be open. I should have done this yesterday. It would have saved me a lot of time. Oh, here we go. Oh, we're gonna... That one's good. That one's gone. That one's gone. That one's gone. This capacitor, all 3 sections of this capacitor are gone. Listen to this one. All 3 sections are equally gone, so this thing is, let me try tying the ground right on here. That thing is gone. Okay, let's check this one here. Let's see. These dry electrolytics are hardly ever bad. I don't think I've ever seen a bad one of these. Until now. Wow, that thing is gone. That thing is wide open. The other thing I wanted to do is I want to clean and lubricate these 4 pots, and I also want to check them with the ohm meter to make sure they're okay. You can already see this one's been replaced. This label to attach type KR line switching. Okay, our line switches. Oh, so this is okay. This must have been like some kind of kit. This is shot, that shot. This needs a complete recap. Unlike that RCA that I did, all the capacitors in that were good. All the capacitors in this are bad. Every single one of them. Well, this one's good here. God, it just sounds hollow. Look at how they put this disc capacitor with the audio cable from the volume control is routed back behind this disc capacitor that's soldered to the main electrolytic. That seems kind of like poor fit and finish. You know what? This might be a replacement. That does not look, that solder there does not look original. It's kind of sloppy. This might be a replacement here. This obviously isn't, because it's got the label for the fuse on it. I'll demonstrate what a good 5 microfarad capacitor should sound like. Hear how that's mostly just highs and mids. See if I can demonstrate this. A capacitor in series with a speaker is a high-pass filter. So the lower the value of the capacitor, the lower frequencies it cuts off, or the higher frequencies it passes. So a tweeter, for instance, might be 2.2 or 3.3 microfarads. A mid-range might be 10 microfarads or something like that. So you get the idea of what it should sound like. And this thing is just wide open. And of course, you can't use this method on, you know, anything below 1 microfarad, really. I mean, we could try it on one of these. And you shouldn't hear. This is a 0.2. You really shouldn't hear anything because it'd probably only be passing. Like the damn end of that thing's blown out. Sure is a cheap-ass tuner. I was wondering why the B plus was pretty high, or is 135. It's supposed to be 125 or something like that, and I didn't see the selenium stack that Sam shows, and then I noticed this. So somebody has already been in here. So probably what needs to happen is I need to look at the value of this resistor on Sam's and then go up about 20 ohms and grab like a 20 watt one and just change this one out with one a little bit higher. This can has been changed. That's, I guess, why I'm not getting the hum, because this comes out of the rectifier, goes to the capacitor, then from the capacitor goes to the reactor transformer, then it goes to this, which this is a 200 UF, and all 3 sections of this are open. So this thing has a lot of hours on it and has been to the shop a lot of times, you can tell. So I'm gonna, there's not that many caps, it really. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there's 14 capacitors here that need to be changed. The hardest part about this is the way this board is. Maybe, hopefully, the whole board will kind of tilt out. But yeah, it's a cheaply built set from the beginning with it's a budget set with a lot of hours on it. Stopped by the electronics parts house today and picked up the capacitors for this thing. And remember, I got 3 of these TVs, so I just got everything in triplets. And I was surprised that he actually had a 0.015 at 1600 volts to replace this 1000 volt here. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this capacitor out and cut it open. I'm kind of curious to see what's on the inside of it, and if I don't hollow it out, I'll get Jason Cruz will blow me up and let me know in the comments about how I screwed up and the world's going to come to an end because I left an old capacitor in there, and we'll get some reference to how Radio TV PhonoNet does things as if that's law. So yeah, I think I'll take this capacitor apart. I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up, but cleaning it has revealed that the capacitor is already cracking open. Pretty interesting. This is probably, well, maybe that's a date code 542. Anyway, I see this thing is cracking right here and it's cracking right here. So I've never actually opened one of these. I try and stay clear of this because some of the material safety data sheets that I've seen reference these as having PCBs in them as a stabilizer in the electrolyte, and I've already been exposed to enough of that crap in old mines and stuff. I don't need any more of it, but we're gonna cut this one open. I just used a tubing cutter and it made short work of it, and now I gotta just get it apart, and it just pulled right out, and boy is it dry. Let me rip this thing out. You know, it's almost like some of these leads had been eaten off by the electrolyte. See how that right there looks like the ground lead and it was eaten off? That would explain why there was zero performance out of this thing. Anyway, yeah, nasty smelling. It's like kind of a cigar type thing. Maybe you could smoke this, I don't know. Okay, I'll have to admit I've never done this before, but it's really not something that takes a whole lot of aptitude to figure out. So we just kind of have to work with the drill and punch some holes in here and then kind of make it all line up logistically. No big deal. Okay, this is our main filter, which is, or the secondary filter after the choke, which is a 220 at one. Let's see, what did they originally have? They originally had a 200 at 150, and I put it, that one's a 220 at 160, and a 30 at 150, and that's a 33 at 150. And a 60 at 300. Well, the electronics store didn't have a 68, which is what I wanted, so I ended up with just a 100 at 450. And what I need to do is lengthen the leads on this, and this is going to stack right here, and then it's going to feed down through, so I got to extend the leads a little bit. Okay, here's the completed restuffed can, and I've double and triple verified that I got all the negatives going to the body of the can, and that I got 3 capacitors connected to the right parts of the circuit. I've verified it by looking at the symbols on here, and those little symbols, the half round, square, and triangle. And then I've also verified it on the schematic like 3 times because I don't want to put it together wrong. And then, of course, just fed everything through and soldered it real good and inspected it with a magnifying glass. And now, all I need to do is just something like that and put some metal tape on it. And no one will ever know. I'm going to get some lacquer thinner, acetone, and clean all the grease off of this so the tape sticks really good. Okay, here's our finished product wrapped with aluminum duct tape. This is metal tape, and maybe I could pass this along to Jason Cruz. Suggested use suppository. Here's a restored filter can. Sure did come out a lot better than trying to disconnect all these wires off of here. What a mess that would have been. Also, I David was telling me I would have to just clip and twist, and I didn't want to do that, and I just loosened up the screws, and GE designed this with enough room here to get in here and service this, so that's pretty cool. So now I'm gonna start changing these Elmincos out. Okay, the sweep board has been completely recapped, and here are the old capacitors. I have not done the front end yet. This board doesn't look like it would come out quite as easy, so what I might end up doing with these is just clipping them and twisting them. There's only 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4 right there. Not a big deal, but I'm gonna fire it up first and see how it performs. Okay, let's see if any of these pass the test. We'll start with this one here, and it's already failed the test because the eye doesn't open up all the way. Let's try the leakage test. Let's just go to 200 volts. Leaky. Next. Okay, here's another one. Completely bad. Leakage test. Bad. Same thing here. Doesn't open the eye all the way. And the value is usually about 30% high when they do that. Okay, let's try one of these brown paper ones, not the ceramic. Same thing. Let's run 100 volts on it. Okay, let's run 50 volts on it. This one might be the best so far. Hey, it opens the eye a little bit more than the rest of them. Okay, this is the 0.015 at 1000 volts, and this is a hypercritical capacitor in the circuit. This is the timing feedback capacitor in the plate circuit of the multivibrator, and this is, look at that. Let's see if it's leaky. It's a 1000 volt cap, so let's just go to 450 volts. Okay, let's go to 100 volts, 50 volts. Boy, these capacitors are garbage in this thing. Let's take a look at the actual value. Okay, that's 0.02, and it's supposed to be a 0.015, so it should be right in the middle here. That's the best we get. So this thing is reading 0.025, and maybe more because that's 0.0. So this is reading like 0.35. Okay, let's put the new one in there. Okay, so I'm still at the setting where the eye was partially opening on the other one. So let's go down. Look at that. Right on. So not only have they're all leaky, they've all increased in value, and they're all lossy. They're garbage. Okay, I replaced the rest of them on the front end board, the IF board, and I just cut them and J-hooked them on the top. Here are the old ones. And this one is looks like the side is blown out of it and it's burnt. So I think this one was completely toast. I'm not even going to bother to test them. But yeah, that's pretty much a complete recap on it. I didn't do the discs. There's one mica there, but that's not the type of mica we see going bad yet. So I'm gonna hook it all back up and see how it works. I got the discriminator, actually the ratio detector balancing cap replaced. So all the electrolytics are good. All the papers have been replaced with Mylar NTE caps. So I got it hooked up, and I can't verify 100% operation with it out of the cabinet, but I can verify some of it. Like I can definitely verify that there's high voltage, and I can verify that there's sound. I have it hooked to the DirecTV box.
In Disney's Muppets Most Wanted in theaters March 21st. Rated PG.
Sure. Give him fish.
Monday is sick. Monday is Awesome Johnson. Monday is
Ready for battle.
Monday is
Yeah, whatever.
Monday is all news. See it first.
But there's one thing that I'm not hearing, which is the vertical deflection. You know, that 30 hertz kind of lawnmower sound. I'm not hearing that at all. Hearing the high voltage, but I'm just not hearing the vertical deflection. So, and it might be that I just can't hear it, but I think it's worth putting a scope on and having a look before I put it back in the cabinet. Well, I see it there on the grid of the multi-vibrator. In fact, here I'm turning the vertical hold, and you can see there it's solid until it loses lock right there. So it's syncing and it's working. I guess I should check and see if it's on the yoke. Maybe the vertical out's bad. Well, here's looking at the vertical signal on the yoke, right across the yoke, and that looks good to me. So I guess I just can't hear it in this one. So we've got horizontal, we've got high voltage, we've got audio. Everything looks good. I guess I could align the ratio detector while I got the chassis out to zero that sucker. Alright, well here's the initial power up, and as you can see I got the yoke upside down. You can also see those scratches in it.
So, you saw the photos I have of you. I swear, I'm not a stalker.
Oh, sure. That's what my last stalker
Have to flip the yoke around.
Doorstep. I'm just kidding. She's on the Today Show now. Stay away from me, Hoda. Hey, Killer Tad, you got ink. Yeah, I've been thinking about getting inked up with some tats.
Ah, crap, I can't turn it around. Also, I got the,
I guess because
I didn't put that,
being, well, lighter than air.
what do you call it?
Oh, God, I sound like such a dork.
Because you like balloons?
The thing that allows you to center it, the centering rings. I just literally stuck it together. And hey, it looks pretty good. Where's the fine tuning?
Sometimes I think we should just blow them all away. But first, let's take a ride on Electric Avenue.
Electric Avenue. And then we'll take it higher.
So, where have you been? Last I'd heard you'd left the foreign service and moved to Rhode Island to work in a deli.
I even,
You still smell like bologna. And then you moved back just when I'm moving away.
Why are you moving?
okay, that works.
My biological clock.
Boy, that looks good.
Call my uterus the hurt locker.
Could just wish it was a little brighter.
The one great guy.
These ion traps really,
Yeah, right. She appreciates me about as much as people appreciate payphones these days. I mean, who still uses a
Okay,
pay...
Cleveland. Well then, how about some I appreciate you cranberry scones with a little I don't take you for granted.
Yeah, not
strawberry
bad.
jam.
I gotta do something with that though. That's horrible.
We now return to middle-aged slobs yelling at each other.
So tomorrow I will
What the hell are you doing?
put it all back together and get it right,
I don't know. Well,
and maybe check the tubes. But I think this one's done.
get off.
I gotta just put it with the yoke right side up.
Oh man, now I'll never see them almost not
We can fix that though, can't we?
Well, Donna, I spent the day with my admirer. You know, the one we call Fatty Patty. And I don't want you to feel threatened or anything, but
Threatened? Please. I think it's great you got somebody worshiping you for once. You've never had that, have you, Cleveland?
well, there's Junior, but he also worships
It's
him.
vertical height and size. Those
I don't notice anything because
works good.
Hey, why
Works real good. It's a little dim, but it works good. Interesting how maybe I got the fine tuning up too high, but things move
Have a lot of good pictures of you
in the
pairs of pants. Donna, doesn't Patty look good?
I've got to say, I am impressed.
put it up.
Thanks. I'd be happy to share my secrets whenever you decide you're ready. For one thing, you might want to stop frying everything twice. It's bad for you. Hey, speaking of getting in shape, do you remember when you won the President's Physical Fitness Award?
Remember, it was only one of the
Why do things over here move when he moves?
Sure
See
you
that?
Remember, Donna?
Oh, yeah, it was 1980.
83. I've never seen anyone do calf raises like Cleveland.
Oh, don't make me do my calf raises. Oh, all
Things move in other parts of the picture. See that?
Lower your calves and sit down, fool.
Wait, Cleveland, do you still whistle?
Maybe this is the line David was talking about.
When did you learn to...
Hey, Patty, just out of curiosity, how do you spell my name?
I think I can spell the
I don't
name
know.
of the city
Cheap
where you
set.
can-
Well, it's way too wide. That could be a function of the centering rings being missing. I'll have to put it together and see. And also, there's a lot of smearing.
Nikki. I've always
And
been
you
a
can
little shy.
watch how the text moves around.
As soon as I started doing match, it's giving me this confidence now. That little edge, you're like, all right, like I can do this. Whoa. Hi.
You look great.
Thank you. Life can pass you by, and if you're not willing to put in that effort, you may never meet
Everything moves around on the screen. I mean, look at that. Look at the smearing.
Than any other site. Start for free today.
Instead of mailing everyone my vacation photos, I'm saving a ton of time by posting them to my wall.
Ooh, I like that one.
It's so quick. It's just like my car insurance. I save 15% in just 15 minutes. I save more than that in half the time. I unfriend you. That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
15 minutes per quote isn't how it works anymore. With Esurance, 7.5 minutes could save you on car insurance. Welcome to the modern world. Esurance, backed by Allstate. Click or call.
It's like something's overdriving.
Good morning, USA. I got a feeling that it's gonna be a wonderful day. The sun in the sky has a smile on his face, and he's shining a salute to the American race. Oh boy, it's swell to say, good morning, USA.
Superior Court of Langley Falls Jury Service.
Morning, Olivia. It's Stan Smith.
Oh, hi, Stan. Has it been a year already?
To the day. Did you get the self-addressed stamped envelope I sent for my jury summons?
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to be back in the jury pool.
I hope the water's warm. Let me see what we got. I can put you on a multiple felony trial that starts tomorrow.
And right after the belt was taken off, temperatures were again recorded. And the measurements were the same. But watch in this time-lapse sequence how the temperature then begins to rise and continues for over 3 hours.
I was able to buff those scratches right out.
Noticeable to most people. So after you take off,
I was able to buff them out with
as you're just going about your day, relaxing, reading, at the office, or just watching TV. The tummy tuck system has been independently tested, and the best part of the tummy tuck is you choose
with a plastic buffing wheel and some
diet and no added exercise, and still trim size from your waistline. Or for best results, combine the tummy tuck to your exercise and diet program to burn belly fat almost 2 times faster than exercise alone, and become tuck because you'll look.
I'm thinking the bending and twerking of the picture is due to a weak tube saturating, so I'll go through and I'll check all the tubes, and I need to add a resistor to get the B plus down to where it should be. Right now I'm running it on reduced line voltage, and put the yoke assembly and everything all back together, but I think this is about as good as it's gonna get. It's not real bright. I wish it was a lot brighter. For as strong as a CRT is, I would expect it to be blindingly bright with the brightness wide open, and that's pretty much it.
Simply call the 800 number on your screen now, or log on to TummyTuck.
You can see how the...
But don't wait, because now there is.
Yeah, it's a cheap set. It probably never really worked that good from the factory.